All right, let's talk about the big one. That moment you stare down a huge research paper, a thesis, a dissertation, and it feels less like a project and more like, well, a monster. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on that whole process. We're going to turn that massive challenge into a quest you can actually manage and maybe even get excited about.
And yeah, let's just be real about that feeling for a second. You're not just writing a paper. You are, as one source so perfectly puts it, taking on the Godzilla of scholarly skills. It's huge, it's scary, and it's completely normal to feel like you're in over your head. You're shifting from just learning stuff to actually creating knowledge. That's a big deal. So here's the real question, right? How do you actually face this monster and come out on top? How do you take that big, scary feeling and channel it into a sharp, brilliant project that you actually care about? Well, stick with me because that's exactly what we're here to figure out. First things first, we've got to understand the stakes. Because honestly, knowing what could go wrong is probably the best way to make sure that everything goes right. You know, a shocking number of people get lost along the way. There's even a name for it. ABD, all but dissertation. These are brilliant people who finish all their classes, they do years of work, but they just never finish that final project. And it's usually not about being smart enough, it's because nobody ever gave them a clear roadmap. That's the trap we're going to learn how to sidestep. So what's the secret? What's the key to slaying this beast? It's all about a simple but really powerful mental shift. It's about getting crystal clear on the difference between your topic, your question, and your thesis. Nail this, and I promise you the whole game changes. Let's break it down. Your topic, that's just the neighborhood you're playing in. The thesis, that's the answer you'll eventually prove. But the real heart of the whole thing, the engine that makes it all go, that's the question. So many people get this wrong. They think they're supposed to write about a topic. Nope. Your job is to answer a specific, burning question. And when you get it right, this is what it sounds like. You should be able to walk into a room and give this 3-sentence elevator pitch. Just look at this example. It is so sharp. My topic is X, my question is Y, and my thesis is Z. Done. Being able to say that out loud doesn't just sound impressive. It's like a compass for your own brain. It keeps you on track. Okay, great. So you need a question. But how on earth do you find a good one? This next part is your treasure map. It's a clear 5-step hunt that will guide you through all the noise and help you find a question that's truly worth answering. And here's the map, all in one go. You see, you start and end by talking to your professors, the experts. But in the middle, you do a strategic deep dive into the books. First the 2 newest, then the next 10. And then you get to the most important step of all. Step 4. After you've read what everyone else has to say, you just stop. And you ask yourself, does any of this actually make sense to me? And if you find yourself feeling a little dissatisfied or thinking that something's missing, that's not a bad sign. That's the best sign in the world. That little bit of frustration means you are right on the trail of your very own original question. All right, so once you think you've found your question, it's time to sharpen it. Think of this next part as your toolkit for turning a rough stone of an idea into a perfectly cut diamond. The first tool in the kit is just this number, 8. What's that all about? It's a rule, and it's a powerful one. You need to get your research question down to 8 words, or fewer. Now, why 8 words? Sounds kind of arbitrary, right? But it works because that short, sharp question becomes your guidepost. When you're lost in the archives at 2 a.m., you can just ask yourself, does this thing I'm reading right now help me answer my 8-word question? If the answer's no, you put it down and move on. It is a fantastic tool for focus. And the thing is, a short question isn't a simple question. It's what this source calls spring-loaded. It's like a tightly wound coil, just packed with energy and tension. It doesn't give the game away, it makes you lean in. It practically begs you, the researcher, to unleash all that energy and explain the answer. Now for a really important gut check. As you start your research, you have to ask yourself, are you acting like a lawyer or a scholar? See, a lawyer's job is to defend their client. They find the best evidence for their side and they ignore or downplay everything else. A scholar's job is to find the truth, and that means you have to look at all the evidence, especially the stuff that makes your original idea look wrong. I mean, this is an incredible cautionary tale. When the author Malcolm Gladwell was called out for cherry-picking his evidence, this was basically his defense. He said, hey, isn't that what we all do? Just pick the stuff that supports our case? And for a scholar, the answer has to be a firm, unequivocal no. Your goal isn't to be proven right. Your goal is to find out what is right, no matter where the evidence leads.
So we've got the map, we've got the toolkit, we've got the mindset, but let's finish up by talking about what really fuels this whole thing. This isn't just about a process, it's about finding your passion and your purpose.
So let's recap the whole toolkit. First, you got to know the difference between a topic, a question, and an answer. Then you use that 5-step process to hunt down your question. You sharpen it to 8 words. And through it all, you remember your job is to be a scholar who confronts all the evidence, not a lawyer who just tries to win.
But you know what? The most important tool you have isn't on that list. It's your own curiosity. Because if you're not genuinely fascinated by your question, this work becomes an absolute nightmare. It's like pushing a giant rock up a hill every single day, forever. But if you truly, deeply want to know the answer, that same hard work feels like a thrilling, suspenseful adventure. And that's really the final thought here. Don't just pick a topic that seems easy or strategic. Find a question that you can't stop thinking about, a puzzle you feel like you were born to solve. Because the goal isn't just to get a grade. The goal is to feel that pull, to yearn, yes, yearn, to discover an important truth. And that is a beast worth taming.